Hey, hi, hello, my name is D, Diana or Jerry, whatever you'd like to call me, and today's video is very interesting, and I honestly don't know how to describe it, but it's not good. It's not good. To start, my loves, I have been hearing about the idol all over my timeline, and I've just been hearing a bunch of like, it's not gonna be good talk, and I didn't really know what to think about it because I was like, okay, how bad can it truly be? You know what I mean? All I knew at the time that I was writing the script, all I knew was that The Weeknd was in it, Lily Rose Depp was in it, and that everybody was saying that it was gonna be bad. Had no idea what they were talking about until I watched it, and they were right, it's bad. Like I said, while I was writing the script, the only thing that I saw was the only clip that I saw while I was writing the script was the character The Weeknd played, Tedros. He was threatening a Valentino employee while he was just doing his job, and I saw it and I was like, huh, that's quite interesting. And I didn't know really what to think about it until I went to the comments and I saw someone comment saying this show is so Wattpad, and I have never busted out laughing in my entire life because they were right. I didn't know it yet, but they were right. I didn't screenshot it and I didn't think to take a picture of it, but whoever commented that, thank you so much because you have blessed my eyes with content. Now, I want to give a disclaimer before we begin. I am in no way educated enough to give my critiques, I guess, a fair share. Take this video with a grain of salt. I am just some crooked tooth bitch on the internet that wanted to watch the show. I wrote down some notes about how bad it was, and that's honestly the only actual educated opinion that I could give you, is that I watched the show and I thought it was bad. Now, am I a film critic? No, I'm not. Like I said, I'm just some crooked tooth bitch on the internet. And my other disclaimer is that if you haven't seen the show, then some of these things might not make sense. I'll give some context as I go, but you know, it'd be better if you watch the show. Well, would I recommend you watching the show? You're gonna have to wait till the end of the video to figure that out, but it's just we'll get there. We begin with the first episode, and immediately in the first episode I was already fucking uncomfortable. I didn't know how to take it. It was basically a shot of Lily Rose Depp getting like close-ups, I guess, for her new album that was coming out, but there was a scene where she started crying and her titties are out, and I'm just like, is this consensually, or am I like, I feel like I'm intruding? Like it made me feel very uncomfortable. On the first episode, she's kind of depicted as a really crazy bitch, but the only way that I could describe it is that, you guys remember when we used to watch iCarly and there was that one episode where the trio had to fix like some down bad Britney Spears-esque Hollywood star, and she was just crazy all around? That's the best way I could depict Jocelyn, is that she's the crazy bitch from iCarly and they had to fix her, and it kind of just feels like she doesn't want to get fixed. So there's an over-the-top record label owner. Her name is Nikki. I don't know who Andrew is. It's not really clear. It says throughout the show he's like the owner of Live Nation or Ticketmaster or something like that. And as we go throughout the episode, there's a Vanity Fair interviewer that's there to interview Jocelyn about, I guess, I wouldn't say current events, but like just shit that's happening in Jocelyn's life that we're not really privy to at the moment. And honestly, in the first episode alone, that's when I really got the hint that nobody gives a fuck about Jocelyn, even her team. Her team is very much like, okay, whatever. Anyways, so the feeling that I got throughout the episode, in just the first episode, it kind of feels like that her team doesn't really give a fuck about Jocelyn. And the only person that I think actually cares is the Vanity Fair interviewer, and she's not even a part of Jocelyn's team, so it's kind of like, why are y'all here then? Just for a check. It's very clear. I'm jumping ahead of myself, and I might be going all over the place because this video is very just like the series, this video might be a little unorganized, and I'll get back to this, and I'm pretty sure this won't be the only time that I'll mention this, but there is a lot of cuts in between scenes that don't make sense. How do I explain this? Like, you know, when in a series or in like a movie, there's side characters that are talking about the main character, and as the side characters are talking, it cuts back to the main character as they're talking, and it's showing the viewer information that we know that the main character doesn't know. And I think that's what they were trying to achieve with this series, but it didn't go out well. It just seemed like all the cuts were all over the place, really, and it didn't look right. It didn't make any sense. One good example that I could give is when Destiny, Jocelyn's manager, is talking to Chloe, a groupie, I guess. They're talking about like how shitty the industry is and how cutthroat it could be. And as they're talking, it's cutting back to Tedros and Jocelyn and basically a bunch of people that are in the industry.
Mm-hmm. You're very talented, Chloe. I like talking to you. I like talking to you too. You know what they call people like you? Crocodiles? Pure hearts. You're real. This business is a crazy, corrupt fucking place. You stay true to that crocodile song.
That's the only good cutaway they really had, because everything else just made no fucking sense. We meet Tedros, you know, the guy that's back here, that guy. We meet Tedros, which is the character that The Weeknd plays, and it goes downhill from there. So towards the end of the episode, Jocelyn is showing Tedros around the house, and Jocelyn begins to play some unreleased music for Tedros. And this is the only time that I ever really busted out laughing at the show, was when so basically, to give some context, Jocelyn is playing this song, and I think it's like World Class Sinner or something like that. And Tedros is like, so, oh my God, there's a fucking spider on the floor. Oh my God. And Tedros is like, so, is this the first song that you've written since your mom's died? And Jocelyn's like, yeah. And Tedros is like, that's crazy. So anyways, y'all, you want to fuck? What's the color of your nipples? Let me take that dress off of you. Now, I ended off the first episode with that dialogue. That's not exactly what he said, but that's the vibe that was basically given off. The vibe with these two, they fuck when they want, and they don't care who watches. Anyways, now that we're on to episode 2, not even 5 minutes into the episode, we get some fucking noises. Like actual, like, you know what I mean? Like, that's like that's dead ass. 5 minutes into the episode, that's what we get. I'm not even getting paid to make this video yet, so I can't even say that I'm gonna get demonetized for this. So she starts playing World Class Sinner for her management and her team, and she's just awkwardly like feeling herself and dancing to the sex music. And I like cringed. I wanted to like become a shell of myself. I almost had to Ethan Klein this shit and like throw on a hazmat of like cringe. That's how cringy it was. I was like, what the fuck? I was genuinely fucking appalled. Now, I might be skipping ahead, but I want to preface that I understand what this show is going for. It's a broken girl in a cutthroat industry. In a sense, it's something that you don't see often portrayed in TV shows. So I wouldn't say it's very rare, but it's just something that you don't see often. And in a sense, I get what they're going for, but baby, you could have done it a lot better. You could have done it so much better. These just don't have manic or mental breakdowns or nervous episodes out of nowhere. There's something that has to be causing that stress. It's not just out of nowhere. You know, everyone around Jocelyn is basically yes-manning her. And because of that, I understand why she's going a little insane. So back to episode 2. During Jocelyn's music video, we get random cuts of everybody just talking. But like I said, it's very all over the place, unorganized. And then we get some random ass lore about Tedros, which I get. We do need lore about Tedros, but why now? Why? Like, it's so weird because Haim is asking, I believe, Destiny and Leia about Tedros, but it doesn't show in the series how he finds out about Tedros. he just magically knows. So it's kind of like, how do you know about Tedros? Leia didn't mention Tedros to you, nor did Jocelyn. Destiny didn't even know who he was. So how do you know about Tedros? So you know how I keep saying that there's cuts all over the place and they don't make sense? Well, yeah, it's happening even more in this episode because we're getting cuts from Jocelyn dancing around and like having to reset constantly. And then we have cuts to Destiny and Haim talking. Haim and Leia talking. I forget his name, but one of Jocelyn's best friends and then the Vanity Fair interviewer talking. It's like, what the fuck is going on? And a lot of the talk doesn't correlate with each other. So like the guy, Jocelyn's best friend talking to the Vanity Fair interviewer kind of doesn't make sense to why it's getting cut back to Haim and Leia talking about Tedros. So because Jocelyn has to leave the set because she's dying of exhaustion and she's having a mental breakdown, Nikki sends her out on her way, and Nikki sees Diane and has the bright idea to basically replace Jocelyn with Diane. And that's basically how the music shoot ends. She just moves on, you know. Very much shows that, you know, any idol can be replaced. They don't care about you. Nikki very much does not care about Jocelyn, and it shows with her replacing Diane for Jocelyn. Or wait, Jocelyn for Diane. There we go. At the end of the episode, Jocelyn invites Tedros over, and Tedros takes it upon himself to invite all his groupies over, I guess. I don't know. They live at the club that he owns, so I guess they're groupies. And as Jocelyn and Tedros are about to do the deed, if you know what I mean, Chloe is in Jocelyn's closet just wearing Jocelyn's clothes. And then, like, Chloe peeps that Tedros and Jocelyn are about to do the forbidden dance with no pants, and she just spies on them. Like, she's not like getting off to it. She's just there just watching them, and it's like, girl, what the fuck are you doing? It isn't explained why she's running around like a motherfucking crackhead and just watching them fuck. So it's kind of like, what are you doing there? I don't know who gives the names for these shows, but Sam Levinson has said that the Euphoria series and the Idol series are in the same world. So I'm assuming this is happening either the same time in the second season of Euphoria, or this is happening after. But Sam Levinson, why did you name the crackhead girls Chloe? Because in Euphoria, the crackheaded girl, her name is Chloe. And in the Idol, the crackheaded girl, her name is also Chloe. Did nobody notice that? Because I feel like I'm the only one that noticed that, because I have not seen anybody talk about that. So now that we're on episode 3, for some reason, Destiny, the manager of Jocelyn, lies to Leia, Jocelyn's assistant, about trying to help Leia get rid of Tedros. And Leia, the entire time, she's something, all right. Anyways, but before we get into Leia's character, Tedros and Jocelyn go to a Valentino store, and while they're there, Tedros catches one of the employees doing their jobs, and he's all like,
if you ever do that again, I'm gonna kill your parents, and I know where they live. Shall I say their address?
No, please don't.
It's not prefaced in the show. Well, it kind of is, but not really to the extent that it should be. But Jocelyn is low-key broke, and she shouldn't be shopping right now. And Destiny finds out about this because Leia calls Haim, and Leia, during the phone call, is all like, Joss is getting eaten out in the backseat of my car in front of me, and like, we're shopping, and I don't know what to do, and I just Haim, he is like psychotic, like, I don't know what to do. Like, Leia, girl, it's called a Friday afternoon in Beverly Hills. What do you mean? What's going on? So this episode is kind of uneventful until the end. Now, this is your trigger warning, and I'm not going to say it again. So the next scenes almost made me want to scrap this video. And call me a snowflake, I really don't give a fuck. But about what I'm going to talk about is, it just didn't sit right with me. And I was talking to my boyfriend about it, and he was like, so what? It's a TV show. They did their job. It made you feel uncomfortable. But like, I get what he means, but also it's like, something about this just feels really wrong. It just didn't feel right. Jocelyn is talking about her trauma, and Tedros. So Jocelyn is talking about her trauma when she really doesn't want to, and Tedros is kind of forcing her to talk about it in front of everybody. It's not just like a private one-on-one conversation. No, there's a bunch of people there. And she gets to the part where she's talking about how her mom used to beat her with a hairbrush, and it's a very sad reality that some kids in Hollywood have to go through. And she's talking about how she had to go through that and how she thinks that her mom beat her with this hairbrush just for motivation. And she still has the hairbrush even after her mom passed. And I had a feeling it was about to go to where I'm about to get. But Tedros goes, okay, well, go upstairs and get the hairbrush. And the next scene cuts to like Jocelyn getting the hairbrush, and then it cuts to them standing by the fireplace. And I was like, okay, thank God. It's not going to go where I thought it was going to go. No, it goes where I knew it was going to go. They start beating, well, Tedros starts beating Jocelyn with the hairbrush. And it's very icky. It made me feel very, very icky. And I think the reason he does that is to motivate Jocelyn, which just very, it's weird. It's weird. That's what I'm going to say. It's weird. So, moving on to episode 4, we get more of Abel's music, which I personally don't mind. Honestly, the music is the only good thing that came out of the show. I haven't mentioned this, but we do get some weird slow-mo montages of things that shouldn't be slow-mo montages. Like, Tedros says that he has Kanye West's producer, like, coming over to Jocelyn's house to produce music. And, like, he just comes out of like a Rolls Royce or some kind of expensive ass car with a bong, and it's all slow-mo and all this other shit. I almost put it was so cringe. I had to put on a hazmat suit because of how fucking cringe it was. It was like was that really necessary? No. So why is this a thing? So anyways, moving on. Now we're going on to this character, which no hate to the actress, you know, no hate to anybody that is involved in this show. God bless Leia. We love Leia. Leia in this show has no fucking backbone, and it's sad. And while Leia is getting berated by Tedros almost all the time, Jocelyn just stands there and looks at her and then looks away once Tedros is done yelling at her. And I feel like there's a sense of like, hey, Jocelyn, like, defend me. Jocelyn doesn't do that. She doesn't do that at all. And keep in mind, this is her best friend and her manager. No, not her manager, her assistant. So her presence in the show is just really dull and really lacking. And it's not that good. Listen, I know I keep cutting in with different opinions and like criticisms, but this show is really all over the place. And surprisingly, this video is a lot more organized than the series itself. In my notes, I would have like critiques and like notes about the show, and then out of nowhere you'll just see who gave Abel this shitty ass wig. And if we look at exhibit A here, I just want to know who the fuck in wardrobe was like, yeah, let's give him this wig, it'll help the character, it would look good. Like, Abel with this wig would look good. You know damn well this lace front wasn't working for Abel, and they had to cover this shit with a bandana. Why else would they have that added? Girl, you look a fucking mess. This bandana does not match with this shirt. And you're gonna tell me, oh, wardrobe just gave it to him? No, that wig was not working with Abel, and you know damn well, because they're covering it up with a bandana. We kind of get some lore on the cult that Tedros brings into Jocelyn's house, and it's very, it's interesting, but it's also kind of uneventful, and it doesn't have anything else to add to the story. Half of this episode is really just Leia getting shitted on, and her dialogue is just, no, like, I know, you know? That's literally all her fucking dialogue is. Or, I'll tell you an even better one. Yeah, I know, but this meeting is important. And that's all her dialogue really is. Moving on somewhat to the end, Destiny, Jocelyn's manager, is trying to get to the bottom of what the fuck Jocelyn and Tedros are doing. Which takes me back to this picture. If you don't know the context of this picture, I'm glad, but I had to figure out this context without my consent. So it's only right that I show you guys what I was watching. Tedros is basically like, Jocelyn, I'm glad you're here. You know, I'm going to show you what we've been doing. It is brilliant. It is like stunning. You have never seen anything like this. And Destiny is like, okay, you know, Tedros, show me. What are you guys working on? And Tedros and Jocelyn bring out this microphone, and Jocelyn starts getting nervous. And Tedros, well, it isn't in this picture, but just use your imagination with this picture. Jocelyn is getting nervous in front of everybody, and Tedros puts a blindfold on Jocelyn and is like, pretend like nobody's here. Tedros just starts motivating her, and they start fucking in front of everybody, and they mama with a mic in front of them. And now at the end of episode 4, there is a party at Jocelyn's house, and everyone's basically just getting hammered, you know, doing drugs, you know, typical Beverly Hills party shit. And Chloe accidentally begins spilling the beans about Tedros's true intentions, and Jocelyn basically has her edit moment where it's she knows, hey. You know those edits where it's like, oh my god, the main character just figured out they're being wronged. Like, that's the moment that she was having.
No, she's not mad at you. Why would she be mad at me? Because of you and Tedros.
And that's when, and for some reason, Jocelyn decides to booty call her ex, and Tedros peeps it, and Tedros is basically like, hey, what are you doing here? Who are you? How do you know Jocelyn? And Jocelyn's ex is like, who? Are you homeless? Why the fuck are you here? And basically because Jocelyn found out what Tedros is really doing, she fucks her ex. All while Tedros is at the door listening to them fuck. The only way I could describe this scene is with this. Now we end off with Diane announcing to Jocelyn that the label wants to have her record World Class Sinner, and she's basically asking Jocelyn if she can have the song. And Jocelyn starts crying because now she's putting a lot together. She's connecting the dots, and she's not liking the picture that it's drawing, or the picture that it's creating. So she's like, yeah, you could have it or whatever. And Diana's like, oh my god, thank you so much, girly. Oh my god, you have no idea how happy this makes me. And, you know, deep down, Jocelyn is like, bitch, fuck you. No, you cannot have my song. But what am I going to do about it? I can't do shit about it. If the lighting and everything else has changed during this episode, it's because my camera keeps dying and I have to keep restarting. So sorry if that looks weird. So before I watched the last episode and before I get into it, I found out that they actually used Abel's house to film, which is interesting. And speculation for this reason is because so much was cut out once Sam Levinson joined that they ran out of funding for the project, so they had no other option to use but to use The Weeknd's house. And originally there were supposed to be 6 episodes, but a lot was cut down into 5, so that might be another reason why this series feels all over the place, which, like I said, it's all speculation. I don't know if it's true, so take that as a grain of salt and be that as that may. At this point, Jocelyn, after finding out a bunch of shit that she wasn't supposed to, she has now had it with Tedros, and she is like, Haim, I want him to get the fuck out. But clearly, he doesn't really get the fuck out. So I want everybody to keep this in mind. If you know how I kept saying that, like, a lot of these scenes don't make sense? There was supposed to be a 6th episode, and I'm assuming that a lot of these things got cut out and just got spliced together, have as much context as possible to follow the storyline, but a lot of it just didn't make sense. And I'm pretty sure because of that 6th episode going missing, there's a lot of content that we just don't know about. There's probably a lot of context that we don't know about. So there's both content and context missing, so Thank you, Sam Levinson. Again, we go back to Leia and her dialogue. It's just a bunch of, or like, I don't know. And no, like, yeah. No, like, yeah, I know. Like, dude, the conversations are so fucking annoying to listen to between Leia and anybody else. Because Leia the entire time is just like, no, yeah. No, yeah, like, I know, you know? Like, come on, be fucking for real. There's a shitty dance scene that I really wanted to skip over because Jocelyn has her management come over to show her, to show them the album and why she wants to go back on tour. And as she's like performing her song, it's going back and forth between Haim telling Tedros to get the fuck out and Jocelyn doing a really shitty dance. And I couldn't skip over the dance because, like I said, the dance is also being cut in between Tedros getting the boot. And as much as I wanted to skip it, I fucking couldn't. Oh, and I forgot to mention, during this listening party that Jocelyn is hosting, Leia finds out that Rob, Jocelyn's ex-boyfriend, gets Me Too'd, and Rob has been calling Jocelyn nonstop, but Jocelyn won't pick up. So Rob calls Leia, and Rob is like, hey, I'm getting a bunch of slander on my name. Can you tell Jocelyn to back me up? Because none of this is true. Basically, Rob is getting a bunch of essay allegations from the night of the party, which is episode 4. And Jocelyn just doesn't care to confirm or deny those allegations, which they aren't true. The allegations aren't true. He just got Me Too'd falsely. So that's unfortunate for him. So because Jocelyn isn't getting back to him, he calls Leia, and Leia is freaked out by it. Leia's like, what the fuck? Okay, I'll talk to Jocelyn. And now Leia's panicking, trying to help Rob. But when she brings it up to Jocelyn's team, more like Tedros' cult, the groupies that I kept mentioning, they're very like, Leia, shut the fuck up. No one cares. And Leia's like, no, but this is important. And when she finally brings it to their attention, everybody's like, oh, boohoo, so sad. Anyways, Jocelyn, sing that chorus for us again. And Leia's like,
side eye. Criminal, offensive side eye.
It's not clear if Leia leaves because of this or she's just had it with everything that's going on. But essentially, Leia leaves a goodbye note, and the goodbye note is never even read. It's never even in the story. It's never acknowledged by Jocelyn that Leia has left. And honestly, I would not be surprised if in the story Jocelyn didn't even notice that Leia was gone. It's no mention that Jocelyn is like, oh shit, where's Leia? Or Jocelyn reading the goodbye note. It's just goodbye. So now that we're at the end of the episode 5, Jocelyn is about to begin her tour, and her team basically drops a very nuclear article about Tedros, exposing literally how he's a pimp, how he's been to jail. He has, I think he was charged with like essay or something like that. He's not a good human being, and it's basically ousted. And Jocelyn's team is like, oh, too bad. We ruined him. Hey, good for us. And Jocelyn, she's like, yeah, fuck that guy. Clearly not all the way fuck that guy, because something about this picture isn't adding up, but I'll get to it. Tedros is trying to get into Jocelyn's dressing room, and security is telling like, hey, Jocelyn, your man's outside. And Jocelyn's like, Tedros who? This Tedros? I don't know who that is. And then like 5 minutes go by and she's like, oh, Tedros. Yeah, bring him in. It's just like, what the okay. So you remember how I said that Jocelyn's team dropped a really nuclear article about Tedros? Well, everybody now knows who he is and that he's a shitty human being. So Jocelyn goes out on the front of her tour and like begins, like gives a speech. Like, you know how like when you start a tour, you're like, hey, thank you for being here. No, Jocelyn doesn't do that. She's like, hey, Tedros, come out. And then Tedros comes out looking like a fucking bum. And she's like, this is the light of my life. He is my soul. He is everything to me. And I love him. And then it basically pans over to Jocelyn's team having the mental breakdown of their lives. And that's how the idol ends. In a really stupid fucking way, if you ask me. Here are my thoughts about the show. Do I think the show is bad? Yes. Would I recommend other people to watch it? Yes. Would I watch season 2? No. I mean, it's not like there's gonna be a season 2 anyways. This show is truly that fucking bad, which fucking sucks because it could have been so good. It had all the elements of it being good. It had all the elements of just exposing something that people aren't really privy to, and then it just pissed it all away. Do I think it could have been good had Sam Levinson not joined? Yeah, it could have been good. It could have opened the doors for others to realize that, you know, what Jocelyn is going through is an actual thing. I mean, we have seen it with Britney Spears. We've seen it with other celebrities that have had public nervous breakdowns, and it just feels like nobody bats an eye. But to the show, it could have been good had it not been so sexualized, had it not been so cringy, had the dialogue had not been so bad. It's just everything about it is not that good. I don't get what it is with Sam throwing in so many sex scenes that are so fucking unnecessary. Like, honestly, if you want to get away with watching porn and you don't feel like going to the hub, just go on HBO and watch anything that Sam Levinson has directed in. There's going to be a sex scene. And you could probably get off to it. Actually, no, you won't get off to it because a lot of the sex scenes are fucking weird. It doesn't need to be included. It just doesn't need to be included. I personally am an avid fan of titties. Do I want to see them all the time? Sometimes. But I would like to know what the fuck is happening in the show. Can I please watch this show without you having to show me some titties? I hope that somehow, some way, The Weeknd and Lily Rose Depp could recover from this, because I'm pretty sure they have to know that the show is bad. They have to know that nobody truly likes this show. I want to see Lily Rose Depp in more TV shows, in more movies, because her acting was great. Abel's kind of, it was all right, but like, I just hope they could recover from it, truly, because there is not no fucking way that they truly believe that this show is that good. I honestly hope that a majority of the cast thrives and moves on from this show entirely. And I hope they could prove that they're gonna be in something better than The Idol. I don't know. I'm just disappointed because I feel like it could have been something so much better. I feel like it could have been something more amazing, but, you know, what do I know? I'm just some crooked tooth bitch on the internet.
Saying my grace, you can't compare it to what I'ma build. She love me for me, cause I got the skill. You fuck up the mood and I pay the bills. Try to test me and I get the kills. Yeah, Miss Cardi, she loving the Molly. I'm driving too fast cause I'm in a Rari. I'm taking a trip, I'm going to Bali. If you got a problem, you know where to find me. My heart is